If you've ever stood in your backyard and felt like you're on display for the whole neighborhood, you're not alone. One of the most common questions I get here on Soil Factor is this: what are the fastest growing trees I can plant for privacy? And I love that question, because privacy in the garden isn't just about blocking a view. It's about creating a space where you can breathe, experiment, fail, harvest, relax, and truly connect with your soil without feeling watched. Today, I'm going to walk you through the fastest growing privacy trees you can plant, what makes them thrive, and how to grow them the right way so you don't just get fast growth. You get strong, healthy, long-term results. Let's build that living green wall the smart way. When you plant for privacy, you want results, and you want them yesterday. The right, fast-growing trees can give you 3 to 6 feet of growth per year under the right conditions. That means in just a few seasons, you can transform a bare boundary into a lush private sanctuary. But here's something many gardeners overlook. Speed alone is not enough. Fast growth must be balanced with soil preparation, spacing, pruning, and long-term stability. Otherwise, you'll end up with weak, top-heavy trees that split in wind or struggle in dry seasons. On Soil Factor, we don't just plant, we build ecosystems. So let's talk about trees that grow fast and can be managed properly. If speed is your main priority, hybrid poplar is often unbeatable. Under good soil conditions, it can grow 5 to 8 feet per year. Yes, you read that right. These trees shoot upward quickly, forming a tall privacy screen in just a few seasons. They thrive in full sun and well-drained soil, and they tolerate a range of climates. But here's the reality. Hybrid poplars have aggressive root systems. I always recommend planting them far from foundations, septic systems, and paved areas. Think boundary lines, open land, or larger backyards. If you prepare your soil well, adding compost and improving drainage, you'll see explosive growth. Keep them watered during the first 2 years to establish deep roots. They're perfect if you want fast vertical privacy. Now, if you want both speed and density, Leyland cypress is a strong contender. It grows about 3 to 4 feet per year and forms a thick evergreen wall that blocks both sight and sound. This is one of my favorite choices for gardeners who want a clean, structured privacy hedge. The foliage is soft and feathery, and because it's evergreen, you get year-round coverage. But spacing matters. Plant them too close, and you'll create airflow issues and disease problems down the line. I recommend spacing them 6 to 8 feet apart if you want a hedge that fills in naturally without overcrowding. Healthy soil with good drainage is critical. Cypress trees, well, they just don't like waterlogged roots at all. If your soil is heavy clay, you'll want to amend it with organic matter before planting. Now let's talk about bamboo. When folks want fast privacy, bamboo always comes up in the conversation. Some varieties, believe it or not, can grow several feet in a single growing season. But there's something important you need to know. There are 2 types, running bamboo and clumping bamboo. Running bamboo, well, it spreads aggressively through underground rhizomes. If you plant it without barriers, it can take over your yard. And honestly, your neighbour's yard too. Clumping bamboo, on the other hand, grows in controlled clusters and is much easier to manage. For backyard privacy, I always recommend clumping varieties. Bamboo creates a beautiful modern tropical feel. It also makes a natural sound barrier when wind moves through it. But, install root barriers if needed and plan ahead. If you want a low-maintenance, fast-growing evergreen, Thuja green giant is hard to beat. It grows about 3 to 5 feet per year and develops into a dense pyramidal privacy screen. This tree is popular for good reason. It's resistant to many common diseases, tolerates heat and humidity well, and adapts to different soil types as long as drainage is decent. I've seen gardeners plant these along fence lines and completely transform their backyard privacy in just 3 to 4 years. The key to success? Well, don't neglect watering during establishment. Even drought-tolerant trees need consistent moisture in their first couple of seasons. For gardeners in warmer climates, eucalyptus can grow incredibly fast, sometimes 4 to 6 feet per year. It adds privacy, fragrance, and even pest-repelling properties. The silvery leaves create a beautiful visual contrast in the garden. However, eucalyptus grows tall and can become massive if not managed. It requires pruning if you want to maintain it as a privacy screen rather than a towering tree. Also, it prefers well-drained soil and full sun. If your soil is rich and healthy, you'll see strong growth. Here's something I always emphasize, and this is where many gardeners go wrong. Fast-growing trees demand nutrients. If you plant them into compacted, lifeless soil and expect miracles, you'll be disappointed. Before planting, loosen the soil deeply. Mix in compost, improve drainage, encourage microbial life. Healthy soil equals faster, stronger growth. I also recommend mulching around the base of your trees. Mulch regulates soil temperature, retains moisture, and feeds soil organisms as it breaks down. This simple step can significantly accelerate establishment and overall growth. One mistake I see often is planting trees too close together in the excitement of wanting instant coverage. Remember, fast-growing trees expand quickly. Crowding them leads to weak growth, disease, and competition for nutrients. Now, visualize their mature width, not just their size at planting. If you want a dense wall, stagger your planting in 2 rows rather than cramming one tight row. This creates fuller coverage while maintaining airflow. Planning ahead, honestly, saves years of frustration. Fast growth is exciting until you realize your trees are getting taller than you planned. Pruning is, essential. Light annual shaping helps maintain density and prevents trees from becoming top-heavy. Don't wait until they're out of control. Gentle, consistent trimming keeps them strong and compact. For evergreen privacy trees, avoid cutting into old wood where new growth may not sprout. Learn your species before pruning heavily. And always use clean, sharp tools to prevent disease spread. Not every fast-growing tree works in every region. If you're gardening in a dry climate, you know it's best to choose drought-tolerant species like certain Eucalyptus or hardy arborvitae varieties. If you're in a humid area, you'll want to select disease-resistant options like Thuja green giant. And if you're in a windy zone, consider trees with strong root systems and flexible branches. Always match your tree choice to your local climate and soil conditions. Fast growth only happens when the plant feels at home. How long until you get full privacy? This is the big question, isn't it? With the right tree and proper soil preparation, you can achieve noticeable privacy in 2 to 3 years. Full mature coverage may take 4 to 6 years, depending on spacing and species. But here's the beautiful part. Every year, it gets better. Unlike a fence that stays the same, living trees grow denser, taller, and more protective over time. They also attract birds, improve air quality, reduce noise, and increase property value. Privacy trees aren't just barriers, they're investments in your ecosystem. Okay, final thoughts here. Build privacy the smart way. Fast-growing trees can, really transform your backyard quickly, but only if you approach them with intention. So, prepare your soil deeply, choose species wisely, space properly, water consistently during establishment, and, prune strategically. Do that, and within just a few seasons, you'll look around and realize something amazing happened. Your backyard no longer feels exposed. It actually feels like yours. Here on Soil Factor, we don't just grow plants. We build resilient, thriving soil ecosystems that support long-term abundance. If this guide helped you, make sure you subscribe to the channel, share this with a fellow gardener who needs backyard privacy, and, keep digging deeper into your soil knowledge. Because healthy soil builds strong trees, and strong trees build peaceful spaces. I'll see you in the next one.